Every single day, it seems like there's big news coming out. There's things that were once buried, or they attempted to bury, being unveiled, being revealed. Today is no different. We have some XRP news today. We have some Bitcoin news today. We have some gold news today. Oh, you want to listen to what they're about to tell you about gold, because it's the same thing I've been saying. Didn't I told you? I told you. That'll be in the last chapter. Don't worry, we'll get there. But this one here, the truth always comes out. I'm going to let it speak for itself. This article is titled, "Why It's Time for Corporates." See how they're talking to the big money? They're talking to the upper people. Now listen to what they say to the corporates. It's time for corporates to jump on the ISO 20022 bandwagon. Where's this coming from? It couldn't possibly be from someone reputable. Oh yeah, it's from payments.com. Highly reputable website with highly reputable webs with researchers there and analysts as well. It's time for them to jump on the ISO 20022 bandwagon. Wait, I thought this was insignificant. I thought ISO was nothing. Wait, what do they say about it? Remember, we already uncovered this with Volante Tech, but now we're about to unveil it even more because payments.com is putting a highlight on the ISO 20022 standard. But let's hear what they have to say, right? It says it might not get the amount of play that real-time payments, open banking, and artificial intelligence get, but the global payments industry reached a milestone recently with the U.S. CHIPS network. One of the world's largest dollar clearing systems completed its migration to the ISO 20022 messaging standard. This move brings the industry one step closer to realizing the benefits of a standardized data-rich payment messaging format, according to Jenny Lee, head of U.S. wire product at Bank of America. Wait, if it was insignificant, why would there be benefits? Interesting. The ISO 20022 standard, I'm just asking questions, nothing more. The ISO 20022 standard, which has been adopted by a number of payment market infrastructures worldwide since 2020, aims to streamline and modernize payment messaging by providing a structured granular data format. The CHIPS network, which handles roughly half of the world's dollar clearing volume, is a critical component in the global adoption of this standard. Quote, don't worry, we're not even to the good part yet. That's in the next section. Don't worry, we're going to get there. We got one more paragraph here. Quote, now the CHIPS ISO migration completed, the entire industry is clearly one step closer to realizing the benefits together, unquote. Interesting. So they need everybody to be on the system, or majority of these companies to be on the system so they could benefit together. Interesting. It's sort of like a flip of the switch moment. I don't know. Quote, Lee told Payments recently. She emphasized that the potential of the ISO 20022 format cannot be fully realized without the participation of all market players. Now, keep in mind, these types of systems, although there's a correlation with ISO 20022 with the bank coins and such like that. But if you look at systems like this, and then I draw a line over a comparison to like RippleNet, for example, you see why I was saying all these years they had that verbiage flip of the switch. They had the flip of the switch coincides with all of the banks doing it at the same time. What did this professional just tell you? They just said these systems cannot be fully realized without the participation of all market players. Now, when they say all, I'm going to just interpret that. I mean, you could take that at face value if you want, but I'm going to say it means the majority. All banking and all financial systems operate like this. RippleNet is the same way. They need a bulk of banks to say, hey, we're a part of the system, which I'm going to assume is somewhere near the thousands. And then they can so-called flip the switch. People don't like that verbiage. That's on them. But it's expedient here. It means that they can finally realize, the full benefits of the system. They have to have majority of the players involved. They just told you from payments.com. They literally, here we go. So it cannot be fully realized without participation of all market players, including banks, corporates, and financial institutions, which also tells people, even though they're very impatient, I get why they're impatient, but at the same time, I'm just in a different energy. This tells you why it takes so long. You have to get everybody on board. It's not just about ISO. Like I said, I'm really thinking in the way of RippleNet, but let's get to that important section now that they had here. Eye opener. Now, this section here of the same article is titled Improved Operational Efficiencies. Wait, I thought ISO was nothing. Thought it was insignificant. Interesting. I'm being sarcastic, of course. The adoption, is that what they say? Let's look it up. Am I using that wrong? Sarcastic versus facetious. I have to, learning is ongoing, folks. Learning is ongoing. So let's see here. What is the difference between facetious and sarcastic? What is the difference between facetious and sarcastic? Facetious may be defined as joking or jesting, often inappropriately. Oh, I'm not being that. I'm not trying to be inappropriate. It says, or, quote, not serious. Oh, okay. All right. So I guess you could take it either way. But the other side is a little bit dramatic. Sarcastic, on the other hand, while still concerned with humor, tends to imply a more caustic, oh, really? Or biting quality that is often intended to cause pain. Really? See? Man, we brush up on things every day. Brush up on things every day. So I guess I would say being facetious. I don't know. Anyway, let's get back to the article. How dare you? We're learning in the middle of a video. How dare you brush up on your intelligence in the middle of a video? What's wrong with you guys? Come on now. Be professional. So now, back to this bombshell. It says, is expected to bring significant improvements in operational efficiencies for both banks and enterprises. Interesting. Lee highlighted one key area where the standard can make a difference: payment reconciliation and a common pain point for many organizations. Quote, improvement in payment reconciliation can be achieved from being able to maintain and provision end-to-end transaction IDs, counterparty identifiers such as IBAN, and remittance information in distinct fields, unquote, Lee said. Lee's telling everything today. Go ahead and tell it, Lee. Better not do nothing around you, Lee. You definitely gonna tell. Don't trust Lee. Lee is telling. This structured data can benefit corporate customer service functions, she said, as well as internal accounts payable and receivable departments. Once again, smash that like button, please. The ISO 20022 format also has the potential. They got more. There's more. Also has the potential to enhance straight-through processing for banks, STP. Oh, it does a lot. Oh, I guess some people didn't know that. By structuring address fields and using standardized country codes, banks can streamline their payment processing and sanction screening, reducing the risk of confusion and false positives. Steps to embrace ISO 20022. As Lee pointed out, to fully leverage the benefits of ISO, corporates and financial institutions must update their systems and operational models to align with the new standard. This involves ensuring that payment instructions sent to banks are formatted in a way that can seamlessly be converted into ISO 20022 messages, which by logic would mean that anyone who's not doing this will have a problem in the future. Anyone who's not associated with ISO would have a problem in the future participating in these systems, since they're not a part of the standardized platform, the standardized system. It's just logical, right? Corporates should focus on providing structured data elements, she said, such as invoice numbers, counterparty identifiers when initiating payment instructions. This will enable banks to carry this information through end-to-end lifecycle of a payment, facilitating automated reconciliation and enhancing reporting capabilities, which obviously DLT helps them with all of that. Bank of America, who's Bank of America closely related to? Ripple, XRP, that too. But let's keep going. Bank of America has been participating in industry efforts to drive the adoption of ISO. The bank has engaged in bilateral testing with peer banks to ensure readiness and build confidence in the new messaging format. Quote, one of the challenges in participating in the industry adoption is the fact that there were not a lot of production data. There were not a lot? Or there was? Shouldn't that be there was not a lot? They said there were. Okay, let's go with that. There were not a lot of production data to use in our testing phase, unquote, Lee noted. To mitigate this, Bank of America has collaborated with partner banks and market infrastructures to generate testing data and validate their systems. All right, listen, we're going to stop there. They go deeper. There's a lot linked to this, actually. We could go deeper if you want. Kendrick Lamar, we can go deeper. What do you say? The rabbit hole. Oh, yeah, the rabbit hole goes deeper. I could take it further, I promise. There you go. Anyway, so we're going to leave that there. But I thought that was potent. That was interesting. I mean, you can believe what you want. I'm not here to convince anybody of anything. I'm just laying things out. I'm reading you the news here, things I researched and discovered, and making it a little bit entertaining along the way. Hopefully. I hope it's entertaining. I don't know. So anyway, so now we're going to move on here to this article, because I want to just some that we left behind. Now, if you remember, we covered that article about maybe 2 weeks ago. I think it's about 2 weeks ago. Ripple and Clear Junction partnered up for cross-border payments, right? But wait, there's a question I should have asked at that time. We asked a lot of good questions. We uncovered a lot. But wait, something that was simple, and I was doing my research and it popped in my head. I said, wait a minute. What is the UK's what is the value of cross-border payments in the UK system, United Kingdom system? So I went and looked it up, right? We got to get these numbers straight so we know what could possibly be accessed. Now, don't get me wrong. Clear Junction has true global reach, as does Ripple. They are a powerhouse together. But we want to look at the United Kingdom because that is going to be very important, in my humble opinion. So now, we're going to go with juniperresearch.com. They've always come through. I mean, they've always done a good job is what I mean by that. Their numbers seem to be solid. And Juniper Research says this is B2B. So we're just covering B2B payments, cross-border payments. B2B payments, UK market 2024 to 2028. Now, what I'm interested in is the 2024. All right. I will give you the 2028 numbers. So here we go. Key statistics. Total United Kingdom B2B transaction value in 2024 is $2.8 trillion. $2.8 trillion. Woo. Then they give you the 2028 numbers here. Here we go. So total UK B2B transaction value projected in 2028 is $3.8 trillion. That's a pretty good jump there. And it makes a lot of sense. Once again, all of these places have an increasing amount of people who are coming from other countries, but they're sending money back home. But I think the key difference here, as opposed to the past when people would come to a new country, is that a lot of people, and this is what I'm reading, and also from interactions, I interact with a lot of people. I think the key difference is a lot of those people are not only sending money back home to family members and friends, but they're sending money back to be stored up so they can return as well. So they can return back to their home countries and live well. And what I've heard, and this could be different for you, is that a lot of people across the world see that the United States, although there's a lot of great places in the United States, it's becoming more difficult to achieve that so-called American dream, right? They find it a little bit better to live in their own home countries. Like there's a lot of people, I've read articles where they've come to the United States, lived here for a while, and they just did not like it, and they returned back home. You know, they saved up some money, went back home. I'm just telling you what the research says, okay? You could disagree with their choices. That's perfectly fine. But I'm using that to understand this money flow. So as that activity increases, the cross-border payments theoretically would increase also. Also, the value would increase because if people are coming from certain areas and now they're making living wages from the pound or the US dollar and they're sending it back, that theoretically will put more US dollars and more pounds into flow, right? So that would also increase cross-border payment values in these particular Western areas or so-called Western areas, right? So now 2024 to 2028 market growth is projected to be 36%. That's pretty good. It says here, our UK B2B payments research suite provides an in-depth analysis and evaluation of what payment methods UK businesses are using to make B2B payments. All right, so we don't need to go that deep. But I see here there's you have Visa here, who's tapped in with a bevy of DLT big time bank coins. Visa is tapped in with FIS. FIS is tapped in with Hedera, connected to Hedera. I said tapped in, connected with Hedera. Obviously, Visa has a relationship with Stellar through Tala. You can look all of this up. Look all of this up through Tala, Tala. I'm not sure what happened with that. Swift obviously is connected with Chainlink, and they have a limited global reach. I see them here. IBM, we know their story. Ripple is, oh, that's nice. Ripple is on here. Ripple made the list. Oh, this is nice. I did not know that, folks. You're getting this live on the spot here. Ripple is on the list. We all know MasterCard's connections. So this is interesting a lot. Oh, and they have FIS here as well. Look at this. New financial system is in play, folks. I'm telling you. I could be wrong, but it's all adding up. All right, so now let's move on here. Let's move on. I'm going to get these other articles in. I get a little excited about the first few articles, and I just, sometimes I don't get to the other articles, and I want to do that today. So now, a little bit of Bitcoin news. This article is titled, quote, I know Bitcoin is going to $1 million, says Samson Mao, unquote. I'm not going to go against him. I just know my numbers. That's it. I know my numbers. What I want to see Bitcoin do and what I think is realistic for Bitcoin to do, but I'm not going to go against them because Bitcoin has shocked people before. People went against Bitcoin plenty of times, said it can't do this, it can't do that. They went against plenty of cryptos and it shocked them every single time. So, hey, that's what he believes, all right? Vocal Bitcoin supporter Samson Mao predicts Bitcoin reaching $1 million with small nuances. Quote, when and quote, how rapidly, unquote. Of course, people are probably not going to feel that way right now with so much turbulence in the market, but that was always going to come. You can see that turbulence coming a mile away. It says anytime it consolidates like that and it's not going up significantly, you know, people are looking and companies are looking like, we take profits, bring it down a little bit, because by it going down in itself serves sometimes as a catalyst for people to start buying more. Like, oh, this guy's got low. I heard a lot of people saying that. Oh, it went low. And then they start buying, and then the price goes up again. They don't have to sell much to make the price go down, you know, and then as people buy more and more, that big pile of Bitcoin they're sitting on or crypto they're sitting on increases in value as everybody buys and pumps that price back up. There's a million different ways to move the markets, realistically speaking. It says Samson Mao, renowned Bitcoin maximalist and CEO at Jan3, took to his official account on X social media platform to make another stunning Bitcoin prediction. Mao once again tweeted that he definitely expects Bitcoin to reach $1 million per unit. Quote, I know Bitcoin is going to a million, unquote. I just like how he says that so matter of factly. And I kind of understand because people are probably giving him a hard time. And he's like, listen, I said what I said. You know, people will give you a hard time about everything, especially on social media. So Samson Mao is a well-known Bitcoin maxi. You can have the best. You personally could think that the cake you just ate, as an example, is the best cake ever. Somebody will come in, that cake sucks. They never even ate the cake. That cake sucks. Like it's just cuz. That's just what they do. There's always those extremes there, the extreme poles there, extreme opposites there. And the people are going to let you feel it. They're going to come kick you in the cojones, you know. It says Samson Mao is a well-known Bitcoin maxi for his predictions of the flagship cryptocurrency reaching $1 million in the long term. Let's scroll down here past a whole bunch of article links. This year, Mao doubled down on his prediction, anticipating the fourth Bitcoin halving that took place in the second half of April. Prior to that, when in January, the SEC officially gave the green light to trade spot Bitcoin ETFs and ETFs began to accumulate Bitcoin like crazy every day, Mao stated multiple times that those purchases would eventually create a Bitcoin demand shock. As for the halving, which I believe they're holding back greatly. I do. They don't want Bitcoin to skyrocket yet. It could have already, but they don't want it just yet. The rest of them are not in yet. They're not in position yet. There are laggards within the industry, and they have let it be known they want to get in. So now I guess they're positioning themselves and their clients. It says it will create a Bitcoin supply shock. The conclusion Mao took from this was that once the demand and the supply shocks meet, they will propel Bitcoin price as high as $1 million or even higher. All right, so now let's move on to another little bit of Bitcoin news, just a little bit. Now, this article is titled, Bitcoin as a Safe Haven. BlackRock CEO exposes global economic crisis. Really? Okay, let's see what you have to say, Mr. Fink. So Fink emphasized the growing role of capital markets as the primary source of private sector financing. This change signals a pressing need for new strategies to unlock financial potential. He says in a keynote address, Fink highlighted, I don't know why I pronounce address like that, a keynote address. Fink highlighted a pressing, quote, growth dilemma, unquote, impacting emerging economies and established economic powers. Quote, the International Monetary Fund and the World Bank were created 80 years ago when banks, not markets, financed most things. Today, the financial world is flipped. It definitely has. Shadow banks rule right now. I don't know if people know that. The capital markets are the biggest source of private sector financing, unquote, Fink noted. Recent reforms have already yielded significant results, with billions of dollars funneled into infrastructure in developing countries. However, he emphasized the necessity for a new approach to unlocking capital, which differs from traditional bank balance sheet models. As a result, Fink announced the formation of the Investor Coalition, including BlackRock, GIP, and KKR, which will commit $25 billion to Asia's emerging economies. Guess who got there first? Ripple. Stellar is also there, right? They just don't talk about it a lot through Stellar via Velo, EveryNet, etc. Ripple's just there, just raw dog. They're just there. But you can look all of that up yourself. This initiative mirrors efforts in Africa. Look at the places they're in. A lot of capital is going to be and value is going to be moving out of those areas and into those areas. Already has. You look at certain places like I'm trying to remember which, but I believe it may be in Thailand, around the area. You're seeing a lot of activity of people from different countries, who wouldn't normally in past decades be able to have a bunch of businesses in these areas. Well, they do now. A lot of them have a lot of businesses there. So things are changing. They're going to be incentivized to bring capital to a lot of these tourist places, and not only the tourist capital that's going to be able to be moved and accessed, but let's be real, a lot of expat money is going to be moving there as well. Especially as I'm hearing, I don't know if this is accurate. All right. This is what I'm hearing, that a lot of places in Latin America, a lot of United States people and Europeans and stuff like that have been moving there, driving up the prices and such like. So now people are looking for other places. Yeah, they're looking at other places. I even heard, once again, I said this before, I heard Portugal maybe getting a little bit crowded with, people from, United States, etc. So they're looking for other places like Thailand, Cambodia, Vietnam. People are looking at places like that, which are beautiful, beautiful places with great properties there. So there's money that's going to be made there for sure, 100%. And so everyone's getting positioned for the unlocking of that capital. Okay, I pause to think from time to time. I like to make sure that I'm saying something potent. All right. Fink stressed that the need for growth extends beyond emerging economies. And they probably, what they did with this article? They probably saved the little Bitcoin piece for the end, and they did. Look at this. Amid these concerns, economic concerns, Bitcoin has garnered attention as a potential safe haven. Analysts at blockchain analytics firm Kaiko have observed large institutional players such as Franklin Templeton. We were just talking about them, weren't we? A couple videos back. Fidelity and even BlackRock lauding Bitcoin's safe haven characteristics. Yeah, don't ever let them make you take your eye off of gold. It's not financial advice. I'm just saying, if you're a commodity enthusiast, don't let them pull the switcheroo on you. I love Bitcoin as well, but you could never divert me from gold. That's not going to happen. No, it's not. No, it's not. And wait until that last article. You hear that. And it's going to tell you everything you need to know about one reason why I feel the way I do about gold, physical gold, but to each his own. It says, unlike traditional safe havens, Bitcoin offers higher returns. Yeah, sure. Sure. There's other things you got to take into account, not just high returns. It says, and a low correlation with equities, particularly during market turmoil. Okay, let's move on here. You know what? I'm going to skip this one article so the video's not too long today. So maybe I'll post that other article in the members only section there. So now, this article is the gold article and it's titled this: why central banks are increasing their gold reserves. Here's the important part. 29% plan to buy more in 2024. World Gold Council report. 29%. Remember, I was saying this a few videos back. For consecutive videos, I was saying they will continue to buy gold. There's no way they stop buying gold. There's a problem with the fiat currency and the current financial system. Anyone, especially these big banks and companies, who wants to protect themselves is going to have gold. I'm telling you, something is coming. 29% plan to buy more in 2024. Really? What's going on? Central bank gold purchases continue to dominate and transform the gold market. And this trend is only getting stronger, according to the latest report from the World Gold Council. Once again, this is why I was saying, and I don't remember if it was the live streams we did or regular video, but in one of them I was saying this is what's probably going to boost gold's price up, if ever it's going to reach those prices like $3,000 that a lot of the so-called experts have been predicting. Things like this, the banks are going to boost it up. They're trying to buy up as much as they can. On Tuesday, the WGC published the results of its annual central bank gold reserves survey. Of the 70 responses, 29% said they expect to increase their gold reserves in the next 12 months. WGC said this was the highest level it has seen since it started the annual survey in 2018. Quote, the planned purchases are chiefly motivated by a desire to rebalance to a more preferred strategic level of gold holdings, domestic gold production, and financial market concerns. Look how they put that last. That's important. Financial market concerns. Everything else is ridiculous for them to even say. They have good gold holdings. They always did. Domestic gold production, they're not concerned with that. They don't care where they get the gold from. We've known that. But financial market concerns is something new and major and something they cannot escape and apparently they cannot control. Says including higher crisis risks and rising inflation, unquote. The analyst said in their report. Okay, so now that you have that information, what are you going to do with it? I know what I'm going to do with it. So until next time, everybody, let's get to the money.